These are the best legendary Pokemon of each region. Look, let's be for real here. Legendaries are some of the best Pokemon in every Pokemon region. I mean, there's a reason why since Generation 2, they were on like 90% of all box art. And like, we all have that memory of climbing Sky Pillar, or getting banished to the Distortion World, or literally throwing hands with God. So for this video, we are going to go over each of the main Pokemon regions and figure out which legendary is the best. Now, by quote-unquote best legendary Pokemon, I'm not really talking about the strongest, though I will be considering their strength to an extent. No, dear viewer, when I say best, I really mean which legendary Pokemon stands out as the most important for their respective region's lore. And now yes, for the most part, most regions are gonna probably have one of their box art legendaries to be the representative for this. However, I will be doing my best to give this title to only one legendary per region. So when you look at a region like Alola that has a literal metric ton of legendaries, only one's going to be coming out on top. And yes, I will be discussing mythicals too, because part of what makes Pokemon legendaries is their rarity. And what's more rare than a Pokemon that majority of the fanbase has no access to? So hi, I'm FableThan and welcome to FableThan's Corner. Now let's hop right in. Wait a minute, what's that? A shiny Rayquaza? Okay, let's see. Alright, I only have a quick ball on me, but can you lend a hand? Click on that subscribe button down below. Each subscription will help increase my odds at catching this thing. But we have to do it just at the right time. Alright, ready? In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, we caught it. Thank you all for your help, and let's get on to the video. Now look, there aren't a lot of legendaries in the original 151 Pokemon to choose from, and unfortunately, I will not be considering the various flavors of wings on sale. We got spicy, I guess lemon pepper, and I don't know, like a mint or something? Yeah, let's go with that. But look, we all know for Kanto, the two most important legendaries are Mew and Mewtwo. Both have lore related to Team Rocket and failed experiments, with Mewtwo being Team Rocket's creative bioweapon when they fail to catch Mew. I mean, everyone from Giovanni, to Blaine, to even Mr. Fuji have their connections to these legendaries. And both of these legendaries are pretty strong, Mew being able to use every single TM, and Mewtwo being literally the strongest Pokemon in Gen 1. That being said, I am going to give the edge to Mew. Now, granted, you can only get Mew in-game by glitching the code. However, I do think it's a kind of cool Easter egg that adds to the mysteries of Mew. Also, if you do use the glitch, you can have Mew as early as the second gym, while Mewtwo is locked away in the post-game. And frankly, I prefer a glitched mon that I can have access to in the early game over a reward side quest. Though, comment down your own thoughts, I'd love to hear what you think. Quickly moving over to Johto, our range of legendaries expands, and we have a lot of different options to choose from. That being said, I will not be choosing Lugia or Ho-Oh. The box legendaries are powerful and cool, but they don't really do much for the events in-game. It's also important to mention that Suicune is a pretty close runner-up, who just misses the mark of best legendary. It does have a cool mini-narrative, choosing us as its partner and giving the protagonist a really good rivalry with Yusin, but look, the real best option has to be Celebi. Yes, I know, another mythical, but honestly, it has one of the best narrative stories. In Heart Gold and Soul Silver, if you have a properly obtained event Celebi, you can actually time travel. Now that's cool in itself, however, when we time travel, we get insanely huge lore drops, such as our rival Silver being the son of Team Rocket's ex-leader Giovanni. And we see the consequences of Red's journey when Giovanni leaves Silver's life. Now, I do have some issues with this special event, however, I think this lore is so impactful to one of the best in-game rivals throughout the whole series. And it's for those reasons that I think Celebi has rightfully earned the spot as Johto's best legendary. Now onto Hoenn, and unlike the earlier sections, we really aren't going to stay too long on this one. Mainly because there is one clear answer. For a region where there's too much water, we'll be taking to the skies and selecting Rayquaza as the best legendary of the region. I mean, Rayquaza has some of the greatest moments across the entire series. scaring off Kyogre and Groudon by himself, Sky Pillar, the Oras Delta episode. Literally, do I need to say more? Maybe Deoxys or one of the other box arts can be a cool runner-up, but honestly, Rayquaza is so important to the story and so powerful, I think it deserves the spot as the best for Hoenn. Like Hoenn, where Rayquaza was a clear winner, Sinnoh has an equally easy option, Giratina. I mean, Pokemon Platinum literally gave us an entirely different dimension to explore in the Distortion world. And where the Red Chain was unable to control both Dialga and Palkia, Giratina steps in and controls both with ease. I may give an honorable mention to Arceus because of the whole Sinjoh Ruin situation, but that's in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and that event was even less common than the Celebi one. I just feel like I should mention it here instead of in the Johto section, since the lore does tie together Sinnoh and Johto. Now, since Unova was a pretty big reboot to the series, it stands to reason that they gave us a ton of legendaries. That being said, I do think, like Hoenn and Sinnoh, our options really have to stay among the three main box legendaries of Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem. I mean, Black and White was the first story-driven Pokemon game, so each of these three carries so much weight to the greater narrative occurring in Unova. Now, unfortunately, even by saying this, I do think I have to give Kyurem the bronze medal. It's really because Kyurem's rise to fame is being the antagonist to the sequel game, fusing with N's Reshiram or Zekrom. Now, this is interesting because unlike Hoenn and Sinnoh, where the box legends of the enhanced version won, here we're looking more at the original games. This means that, in a weird way, both Zekrom and Reshiram should have equal opportunity for having the title as the best legendary. However, that isn't true. Now, you could make a case that both Reshiram and Zekrom should share the title, since depending on the game you play, you end up with one in the same kind of story beats. However, I do think between the two, there is a correct answer choice, and that's Reshiram. Now, in a lot of the supplemental media, such as the anime and Pokemon TCG, N is partnered with Reshiram. But this is kind of weird. Reshiram is a legendary who sides with the hero of truth. However, we know that N's goals in Black and White aren't aligned with the truth that these games are trying to tell. Sure, N genuinely believes in his dreams of Pokemon liberation, but we see that the narrative conclusion is that the true best interest of Pokemon is when they can coexist with their human counterparts. Additionally, N's adoptive father, Ghetsis, actually lies to N about the true nature of Ghetsis' goals. Ghetsis only wants Pokemon and people to separate so he can have an easier time taking over the Unova region. It does seem that N narratively relies more on the ideals of his beliefs rather than the truth of the world, which aligns more with Zekrom, who chooses the hero of ideals. So personally, I think the best legendary would have to be Reshiram, the legendary who believes in the truth that Pokemon and people could coexist. However, Zekrom does come in close second as the ideal antagonist. But again, comment down your thoughts because I'm really open to being wrong on this. With Kalos, again, the best legendary is going to be between the two box legends, Xerneas and Yveltal. Unlike Unova, though, there isn't much to distinguish the two from each other, so really, it's pick which one you want. Honorable mentions do go to Zygarde and Mewtwo surprisingly. Both are post-game, with Zygarde being really underwhelming in his own region. I mean, Mewtwo at least gets some cool megas and some lore related to some Pokemon lore. Now for Alola, again, I think the best legendaries is probably going to be related to the box legendaries, but it's not going to be Solgaleo, Lunala, or either of the Necrozmas. Wait a minute. That's right, it's everyone's favorite goober, the homie who just needs to get back in the goddamn bag, Nebby. I mean, just look at him. He's definitely the bestest boy, with an honorable mention to Gladion and Sylveon, cause who doesn't love an edgy loser with his dog? For the Galar region, it's literally either Zacian, Zamazenta, or Eternatus. Zacian and Zamazenta for the obvious reasons being that they literally show up early on in game, but then sort of disappear until the climactic showdown. That being said, I personally choose Eternatus because it's a freaking giant Master Hand dragon ready to destroy the world as we know it. Like, twice. It's Arceus. Yeah, not much to say there. Literally the first game where Arceus is 100% legal if you 100% the game. And he gives you an iPhone while you're stuck in feudal Japan? Like, what? And I mean, you literally get to throw hands with God. Not just like a Master Ball, you don't even really need to battle him. Just throwing literal hands. I mean, it's really a choice between either of the two time-traveling sandwich dogs or a child with a sad backstory. So, take your pick. So yeah, these are all the best legendaries for each region in my opinion. Please be sure to like the video, comment your thoughts, subscribe, and I hope to see you all next time.